Well, we're gonna let Bill drive still.
Oh, that's right. I'm gonna run this one too. You're
That's
gonna talk and I'll run the video. To get it up here.
This one's kind of a tandem presentation. So Bill and I thought it would be good. Initially, we started with one game management tape, and we found so many plays that we've broken it down into two game management sessions. And I think there are some very good plays here to talk about game management. They're all going to have one thing in common, and that's you got to be aware of the situation in the game, and somebody in the crew has to be responsible to know the rules at all times. If not all seven of you should know the rules at all time, but somebody has to have an inkling of doubt if something is go wrong. And if somebody has an inkling of doubt, that's the time to speak up and get it corrected, because in the locker room does no good. Staying quiet usually leads to something happening on the field, and you could work. Bill and I commented on this. You could have worked a perfect ball game up until this point, and you guys are going to be remembered as the worst crew that ever worked a football game because of something as simple as rules, 10-second runoffs, things like that. So we picked a number of plays here that I think are good talking points and good discussion points as far as game management and just taking that game across the finish line and in the best way possible. So I think we got 6 or 7 plays each week, so I'm sure we're going to get some discussion. So fire away, Bill.
All right. And it's basically what we call this is football IQ.
Yep. So our first play is going to talk about timing and when does the clock stop. So our situation here is there's 6 seconds to go. This is the fourth quarter. Doesn't show it there, but there's 6 seconds to go in the game. And the team on offense does not have any timeouts. So the first thing that you should realize, or you should have your football IQ, is particularly if you're the short wing official, is if anyone catches the ball near the boundary, their desire is to get out of bounds to stop the clock. So if we run the play, Bill, there's a couple aspects here that we can talk about. So we have a pass to the boundary right there. The receiver catches it. He gets contacted. Technically, he gets driven backwards out of bounds. And if we talk about forward progress and the letter of the law as far as forward progress, did he get hit in the field of play and driven backwards and out of bounds? Yeah, he did, probably. But this guy was fighting to get out of bounds on his own. So that little nudge back probably is not warranting, at least it wouldn't be for me, to keep the clock winding. Everybody knows he wants to get out of bounds. He got out of bounds. The next thing you have to consider is when he crosses the sideline, the clock doesn't stop per se. The clock will stop when he first touches something out of bounds. So all that needs to be kept into consideration. So know whether the runner wants to get out of bounds. There's a difference. Obviously, if this was 6 seconds to go into first quarter, wind the clock, let's go to the second quarter. But there's 6 seconds to go in the game. Runner got to the boundary, got out, in my opinion, got himself out of bounds. But also be cognizant that just crossing the sideline doesn't stop the clock either. So clock management also for the deep wings and the back judges, know when the clock stops. And my question probably really more for Jim, because I know that the video judge rules are a little different in the IFF than they would be in the NCAA. For the NCAA replay officials to get involved, the clock would have to have expired for us to rule on a play to put time back on. Does IFF allow the reverse? Can you get involved if time should have run off?
Yeah, an IFF video judge can do almost anything in the last couple of minutes. But what we recommend is that you don't intervene while there is still time on the clock, because what you can do is put time back on the clock after the clock has run out. So you want to avoid a situation whereby intervening, you give team A time to get lined up and ready to snap the ball that they wouldn't have had if you hadn't stopped the clock. So The time to stop the clock is after it's run out.
Yep.
And this
Appreciate
play is the situation too, where a first down was gained. So you're going to stop the clock regardless. But the key thing is, are you going on the snap or are you going on the ready for play? And that. So, if this wasn't a line to gain situation and you determine this forward progress, the clock will continue to run. But to Alex's point, don't nitpick this when let the players decide the game, not the technicality. And nobody's right there to say, well, did he get knocked back a foot, a yard, 6 inches? He's trying to get out of bounds. He's not being carried or pushed back several yards and then out of bounds.
And we want our video judges to apply the same common sense that the officials on the field apply. So, if you go stop the clock on the field, the video judge should have the same opinion.
Very good.
Very good. So situational awareness, I think it's going to be common theme, like Bill said, football IQ and all these plays, but that gets us through the first one. Second one, obviously, this is, again, we're going to talk about timing situations. This play got a lot of attention in the NCAA, particularly because it happened the first week of the season, I think, this year, and regarding to the rules here, but we got less than 10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Team A throws a pass near the boundary here. If we let it go, a runner's trying to get out of bounds and does get out of bounds. So the first thing you'll notice is the official stops the clock. So with 1 second remaining on the clock. So situational awareness. Let's assume the runner gained a first down in bounds. Are you going to signal to wind the clock and then stop the clock? Because that could cost the team a game here. I think situational awareness here, you just got to stop the clock and then communicate back to the referee that we're winding on the ready if we are winding on the ready, but don't necessarily need to wind the clock or the signal on the sidelines if you had ruled him down in bounds. Now this official rules him down out of bounds, and if Bill runs it a little bit further here, he gets his spot. And I think if we keep going, we'll talk about here. So we have the runner down, made the line to gain. He is out of bounds. And there you see the signal. So he's excellent job communicating with the referee that he has a runner down out of bounds, which means clock is going to start on the snap. There is 1 second remaining on the clock. So everything here is fine because the clock's going to start on the snap. We're going to have another play and the offense is going to get another chance to snap the football. However, replay finds this angle right here, or replay finds a look that says the runner's knee was down in bounds. And again, your scope, like Jim mentioned earlier, if you're a video judge, is much broader than it is in the NCAA. So you have one of two things to do here. You can revert this back to a running clock, and the clock would start on the ready for play. And or you can not get involved, which is what the NCAA rule is in this particular scenario, because the line to gain was met and the clock would not have continued to run. Because if we go by the premise that you are going to say that the runner was down in the field of play and the clock status has now been reversed to a running status, you've technically ended the game if you're the video judge, because that would require a 10-second subtraction, because we've reversed from a stop clock to a running clock. In this case, the line to gain was met, so that throws that out the window for the NCAA side. You have a much broader scope, like Jim said, to do anything on the IFAF side. But I would be wary here. The clock is going to run. It's still stopped, so you don't have a runoff technically because it's stopped for the first down, but it's going to run on the ready. And I would be and Bill can tell you from his experience as a referee, I would be in that quarterback's ear. Obviously, is A, you can't spike it. B, it's going to run the second I blow the whistle, and I'm not going to blow the whistle in the ready for play till everybody is set and line up. And I think we have a play either this week or next week that illustrates that very same point of how not to how not to start a clock when time is of the essence. There's probably a few of those plays coming up. But again, I think the ruling on the field here is the runner was fighting for the sideline. I think the official ruled correctly that from the naked eye, he got out of bounds, fought to get out of bounds, and then video replay got that angle that showed the runner's knee was down. They couldn't do anything about it in the NCAA because the line to gain had been met. That's why the game did not even get stopped, because there would be no alteration to the ruling on the field, whether they reviewed the play or not. So I would suggest that that's the same thing. But good communication by the on-field crew, spotted the ball, know what the situation is, got the signal up to the referee that clock's gonna start on the snap. In that case, the only thing I would tell you is if you're going to rule that he's down, be wary that whether you're going to wind it and then stop it if you're going to rule it down in the field of play, because you may run that last second off the clock. Anything else on that one, Bill?
No, I like your point about how the official, when he turned to the outside, he put his arms crossed above his head to signal that we've got him out of bounds, right or wrong.
Yep.
The other thing is this is another example. People say, well, how good are radios? Well, this is one that, hey, if you're using radios, this is definitely something you want to communicate around with your crew so that everybody's aware of what your ruling is on this. Okay. And also remember too, that this is a game with high definition, umpteen camera angles.
Absolutely.
You're probably not going to have that type of video coverage in 99% of your games. So you won't be able to prove that this official was wrong like they could do it on this situation here. So, all on the field will stand easily with most video situations.
Absolutely. So third one, we're going to talk about ball mechanics. These are the things that are in our control, to use Bill's points from listening to him. These are the things that we can control. The rules are hard enough. The judgment calls, the targeting calls, they're hard enough to make on the field, but things like relaying the ball and properly spotting the ball and penalty administration are things that are in our control. So we have 17 seconds to go in a ball game, and we could have worked 59 minutes and change of perfection, and we're going to go down as the Keystone Cops in this play as far as incompetence. But we'll let Bill run it here. So whether it's crew of 7 or crew of 8, obviously it's under a minute. You have to have situational awareness. If you're the line judge, you got to know the runner's down inbounds, short of the line to gain. We're going to wind the ball. There's no need to put the ball down. Your immediate concern is to get the ball inbounds as the clock is running. Under a minute. This should be umpire sideline to sideline, whether it's crew of 7, crew of 8. The umpire should have the football sideline to sideline. That means he gets out to the sideline, hustling, gets the ball, spots it down. He creates a disaster here by tossing the ball into the side judge. And of course, as Murphy's Law indicates, when something will go wrong, when something can go wrong, it will go wrong. He hits a player in the head. So now we're at 10 seconds running. Our line judge has spotted the ball. They got to get another ball from the outside. We hit the guy. The center judge gets the ball, spots it, tries to get back, and the game is over. And obviously Team A is not thrilled about that decision, and we did not look very good in the administration of that. So some key points there is if you're the short wing, don't put the ball on the ground at that point. That is the ball we need. Get that ball in to the umpire, and umpire run it to the inbounds mark and get it spotted. I heard an umpire say once, this is that one time probably in the game where nobody cares about the accuracy of the spot. It's put the ball on the ground and go. If you're off by a half a yard or so be it. Just get the ball on the ground and let them snap it. There's no need to the short wing official force the deep wing to get a new ball in. The umpire then makes a relay to the center judge. The center judge, can't get the ball because it hits a defender, and the game is over. Obviously, Team A reasonably upset about it, and this makes 59 minutes and change of work go right out the window. So just get that ball spotted down and go. If the center judge were to spot it, these are a couple of things that Bill and I talked about. It's not in the rule book anywhere. It's not in the mechanics manual, I should say, anywhere. Is you're probably best off to go into the defensive backfield and work the play as a double umpire like you would on a kick situation, so that you can get out of the way and let them snap the ball. But you really shouldn't be up there to begin with. That should be the umpire that's spotting that football sideline to sideline, get it down, move out of the way, let them snap the ball. The other question is, if we recognize that we created this mess, should we give the offense another opportunity to snap the ball? Well, did the defense do anything wrong is the question. Did the defense do anything that warrants us giving the offense another play in a 8-point ball game that could possibly tie the ball game? That's a good question, a good discussion point. But this just makes an entire ball game effort. You could have had the best pass interference calls, nailed the targeting plays, and a simple thing like ball mechanics, and this crew's credibility is zero.
There's been a request to show the video again. Bill, can you play it one more time, please?
Yeah, as this pass goes out here, I mean, it's good awareness now by the line judge. He's short of the line to gain, wind the clock. But right now, putting that ball down at his feet, really poor. The umpire should have ran it across and ran it in. The center judge should have stayed out of there. And again, the defense didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't like they knocked the ball down. If it would have been one thing if that defensive player would have put his hand up and swatted the ball down. Now you kill the clock. Now you hit him with a delay of game penalty on the defense. And you can put the ball down after the penalty and go on the snap. You have the right to do that by rule. But they didn't do anything wrong. They were just going back to their side of the line. And it was the official that created the problem. If you're one of those officials that says, we got to give them the play over. Well, when teammate throws a pass in the end zone then for a touchdown and wins the game, you answer those questions to the defense about why you gave them an extra play. So, but it's just simple. It's over. And you take the heat for it.
And that's what pregame is for. Yeah. Pregame, we got to have that discussion in pregame as far as ball mechanics. If we're a crew of 8, under a minute, what are we doing? But, get all that stuff clear. There's an interesting play. It's a block field goal. And obviously the old adage, at least as long as I've officiated, I can remember, is when something will go wrong, it will go wrong during a kick play. So we have a field goal attempt here in the SEC championship game. If we let it go, we have a blocked field goal. And of course, we get the old pick it up and run with it. So there's a couple things to take a look at on display, and a couple things that would be interesting. And if anybody caught them, how would they be handled on the field? Is first one we're going to talk about, and I think is the one that the TV folks talked about, is that we had a blocked field goal. Obviously, that it's a live ball. It has not touched down in the end zone. So it is a live ball because it is in the field of play. And as long as that ball has not come to rest, that pickup and advancement by number 29 of Georgia is legal. So be very cognizant as when you're going to rule the ball at rest. Probably a good thing that Bill mentioned is you pick this ball up, you count 1,001, before you 1,001, 1,002, then it's at rest if nobody's played it, and then we can kill it and move on. But the more interesting part about this play is, I think we got to look at it here. When we get the ball coming out here, is anybody notice what number 2 is doing? And we have to know the rules of a block field goal beyond the line of scrimmage. It is a scrimmage kick, and all rules pertain at that point. So he's given a getaway signal. So that ball is technically dead by rule when picked up by number 29. And it is no longer an unsuccessful field goal either. It is dead at the spot where recovered by Team B, and they will get the ball at that spot. But nobody caught that part of it. They were more even the TV analysts were more focused on the fact as to whether did we have a ball at rest before it was picked up by the receiving team. And that's one part of the play, but you also somebody should have seen the getaway signal and realize that this was a scrimmage kick at that point, and the getaway signal is not allowed. So the ball should be dead. And at that point, we got to know the rules, that it's no longer an unsuccessful field goal. So we're not going back to the previous spot. Team B would have the ball where they were, where it became dead by rule with the getaway signal. Interesting explanation to a sideline, though, if you're going to go to Georgia's sideline and tell them you've taken the touchdown off the board.
You know, and it's a signal that will catch you by surprise because you're expecting signals to occur while the kick's in the air. You wouldn't even be expecting getaway signals or a fair catch signal on a field goal attempt, especially one that close. But the rules apply for signals, whether it's a punt, whether it's a field goal attempt. They apply. They apply while it's still a kick. If that signal was given after he picked it up and was returning it, then there's no issue whatsoever. You can continue the play. But if it's while it's a kick, then you can't do it. Well, you can do it, but it's going to be the ball dead when it's possessed.
Interesting. Well, there's the old adage that says sometimes you just have a bad day at the office. We're going to take a look at this play, and I think on next week's video we have another play from this same crew in the same game. So that they just had a bad day in the office, but somebody needs to know the rules here. But we have second quarter, a minute and 9 seconds to go left, and it's 1st and 10. And a 2-score ball game. So that should give you situationally kind of what's going on here. So we got a pass over the middle. It's caught near the first down marker. Okay. The officials spot the ball, and all of a sudden they get a stop from replay. So the play is shut down. You have to have the awareness to know that they're not stopping this to take a look at a first down. Theoretically they could be, but it was 1st and 10. So what difference does that make for them to have stopped this? It's a 2-score game. What difference does it make? So you got to know that if they're stopping this, they are looking at targeting most likely. And okay, they do. That is what they are looking at. And regardless of what happened here with regards to the targeting, whether it is or it isn't, now we have to know the rules of administration. The clock was stopped with over 1 minute to go. So runoffs are not in the scope of the replay officials. So regardless of the ruling on the field here, we would have no runoff. We'd simply spot the ball at the spot of the completed catch, and it would have been 2nd down or 1st down. I don't recall whether they awarded the 1st down on the field or not. I believe they spotted it short. So we would go back to the spot and have 2nd down. Well, this crew is now obligating Utah to take a timeout to avoid a 10-second subtraction. And this is going to go on for quite some time. Bill has actually cut this play significantly. We've cut this play significantly. I think you said it was 6.5 minutes this took on the field?
6.5 minutes from snap to final resolution. Now think about that. 6.5 minutes to be wrong.
Right. You know, the coach knows the rules, but now we've got a huddle of 8 guys, and we're all going to come here and discuss this. And somebody here has to say, what in the world what are we thinking about? Or what are we talking about? And now we got to go over to the other coach and explain to him. In this game, we have 8 officials and alternate, and nobody knows the fact that we don't have a 10-second subtraction here. With regards to a runoff. Replay doesn't know the rules. I mean, the guys in the booth have to know the rules too if they're going to stop it. Well, eventually they get it corrected, and they give Utah their timeout back. But 6.5 minutes is way too long make that happen. Somebody's got to know the rules. Hey, we've been stopped by replay. Obviously, when they're not looking at the first down, because it was first down to begin with. So you should have situational awareness. You know that they're looking at targeting. It's a 2-score game. Okay, as they're looking at targeting, somebody on that crew should be getting the next particulars ready to go. Hey, it's going to be 2nd and 1, or it's going to be 1st and 10. It's going to run on the ready, and we're good to go. And you should relay that information to the replay official. I know Bill had much more experience as a referee doing that, but I would assume most referees repeat the result and the ultimate next sequence of events back and forth to each other before getting off the headsets. Know what you got before you get off the headsets.
And it's one of the reasons too that we have a card for replay. And
Yep.
we want to make sure we go through that checkbox with them. Now, also remember too about the 10-second runoff situation is that it's there to prevent a team from gaining an unfair advantage. Okay, an unfair advantage with the clock. There's absolutely, team A didn't do anything wrong. They caught a pass. They were given a first down. They didn't have even though it wasn't targeting, they weren't the ones that committed the act that replay reviewed. Why are we basically with the clock penalizing team A when they didn't do anything wrong whatsoever? So this was never the intent of a 10-second runoff rule.
And as you'll see next week, probably, I think the next one's on next week's play. This was just one of those days at the office that, I guess they just weren't focused, or the pregame didn't go as planned, but they just went from bad to worse, and you'll see that probably next week. But this next play is interesting. This got a lot of discussion. It's still getting a lot of discussion here in the States, and it's an excellent play for discussion purposes, but it's relevant to forward progress. And this is going to be whether forward progress and results in a new series for team A or a turnover on downs. It's 4th down and 6. And you'll see here when Bill runs it, we're going to have a pass completed near the boundary, and the runner goes down outside the boundary. Our wing official spots the ball short of the line to gain. And a turnover on downs. And of course, this is a college football playoff semifinal, so they've got every angle in the world available. But the runner, let's talk about the rules regarding forward progress, and let's talk, is he an airborne runner or is he an upright runner? He has a body part down in the field of play, which is his hand. So we'll talk about the goal line first. So if this was the goal line and not the line to gain, he would have goal line extended. So he would have a score in this case. However, the rule is not the same with regards to forward progress. The rule states that the ball is out of bounds where it crossed the sideline. And in this case, even with this technology that I'm going to suspect is even in most games in the US, no one would have this look. This is a pylon cam look, high definition pylon cam look in a semifinal, which makes it a great play for discussion. But where that short wing official spots the ball in relation to it being inbounds or out of bounds is all on that person. It goes to review, and here the runner is, where does the ball cross the sideline technically? That's what we're taking a look at here. I don't know that there's any angle, even with this angle, that clearly shows you where the ball crossed the sideline, unless you piece it together, which the replay officials have the ability of piecing shots together. If there was an aerial shot that would be synchronized time-wise, that could tell you when the ball crossed the sideline. But the rule is kind of funky on this because it's a first down, and that rule says whether it's where the ball crosses the sideline is the spot, not like the goal line, where since he has a body part down in the field of play, he would have gotten the goal line extended. So this is not one of those spots that if you are the short wing official that you're going to get cross-field help on. I mean, you got to get this spot all by yourself. If you're the line judge, he's got a good look down the sideline. So where he spots it, I think, is actually pretty accurate. And I'll let Bill comment on this one. And he was there, so he had a inside look at this one. But I think the line judge's spot is pretty good on this one, and replay actually reverses this decision, which baffled a lot of people. And I think still to this day, it's unclear what premise replay used to overturn this to award a new first down to Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, I was at the game with ESPN. I was asked about it. We said where the ball crosses the line, but apparently they're showing with this one view. They were showing that he made the line to gain with the hand still down in bounds. Now, if we change the rule to say while you're still in bounds, you can get the sideline extended, that's one thing. But by our rule, wherever that ball first crossed the sideline, and here's the shot here.
Yep.
That says, hey, the ball's just starting to cross the sideline here. If you can time that one up and match, which they can do in a replay booth, and sync it with the sideline view, you would see that this ball is short of the line to gain. I love replay to death, but this was not indisputable video evidence just because they put a yellow line straight up from the pylon cam and the ball made it across. It's a totally different rule for the sideline than it is for the goal line. One that I think should be, maybe even IFAF could be the groundbreaker and get changed. This should be a first down in my opinion, but it's not a first down by rules that we use. So, it's a human eye on this one. This play was made for replay, but replay should have ruled that the play stands at best. No indisputable video evidence to reverse this.
Actually, I think he had a heck of a spot on the field.
Yeah, I think he did a great job. And again, I love replay to death, but this is an example that replay is not a perfect world. You can have human error, which is here, or you can have technical error where the equipment fails. It breaks down. And that's happened many times. So that's why as officials, and this is the thing I applaud the officials who really don't have a replay, which would be 99% of even IFAF. I applaud you because you are taking full responsibility for the game, start to finish. I've seen, in my opinion anyway, I've seen a tendency, especially at the Division I college level, that officials, they don't care if their call is right or wrong. And when replay first came in, that bugged me. If you changed my call in the replay booth, that bugged me. And I wanted to find out why I was wrong and do something about it. I don't see that attitude with today's officials. Most officials just go, if I'm wrong, replay will change it. So what? Well, you're responsible for the game. So keep doing what you're doing. And I applaud you for it. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep taking responsibility for the game because replay's not perfect.
Yeah, and one last thing is great mechanics by this official. Whether he got the spot right, wrong, or indifferent, just look at his body language. I mean, he asks for the ball, he gets the ball, he puts it straight down where he has the spot and points that it's a turnover on down. So he's sold this call, whether he's right or wrong. He's come in and he's made a firm decision as to what he has on the field, and that whether you're right or wrong, that's going to help your credibility. I mean, he came in, spotted the ball immediately, didn't hesitate, and pointed it. It was a turnover on downs.
Yeah, he's an experienced line judge. He's ruled the out of bounds spot on plays hundreds, if not thousands, of times in his career, and he's done it in this game, in this situation, exactly the way that he would normally do it. And he's probably not aware that the line to gain hasn't been made until he puts the ball down and checks back. Two things: you make the call and then sort things out based on the facts What do you have in front of you then?
Well, the part to this is, it's just mind boggling, is you give the ball back now to the offense. And again, you're not thinking of it at the time, but you give the ball back to them with a new first down at this point in the game, and they go on and they kick a field goal. They ended up winning the game, the semifinal. They ended up winning the game by 1 point.
Mm.
So this play had a huge, huge impact on the outcome of the game, and it was wrong. It was just flat out wrong. And I'm perplexed by it.
The last one we're going to take a look at today is the other semifinal from this year, and it also had a play that garnered a lot of discussion and perplexed a lot of people also. But it has to do with the process of the catch, the famous process of the catch, and when does a receiver gain possession of the football. So we have a ball being snapped here from outside the 50-yard line from the net minus 49. So it's going to be a relatively deep pass over the middle, and it's caught somewhere in relation to the goal line, which we'll talk about in a minute. But mechanically, let's talk about a few things too. You got to have situational awareness. I know you're the deep official here, like this back judge is. You got to know where the goal line is, and either you're going to stop and rule on the goal line, and we're going to show you another shot here that you probably have the best look at it, because the deep wing partners here have not gotten to the goal line yet. But you got to know where the goal line is, stop on it if you can, and make the ruling. I know we're backpedaling hard trying to get out of the way like this guy is. It's a long pass play, but you got to know, or try to, he tries to hit the brakes here, but he comes up, he points to the goal line affirmatively, and he rules it a touchdown. Now the question is, do you have the runner in possession of the ball there? And is he short of the line to gain? Or where does he possess the ball, and is it a touchdown? Well, here's the good old pylon cam again, since it's a semifinal. He affirmatively comes up, the back judge points to the goal line and rules it a touchdown. Replay comes in, shuts the play down, starts reviewing the play, and ultimately comes up with the decision that he's short of the goal line. Where and how they come up with that decision is still a great debate on this play. Also a semifinal, interestingly enough. I think this is one of the better looks. Yes, he first touches the ball short of the line to gain, short of the goal line, but does he possess the ball? The ball clearly moves when he catches it. When he firmly gains control of the ball, to me, he's clearly across the goal line. So there's no reason why this should be anything other than a touchdown, which was the ruling on the field. Again, unless there's some miraculous shot that shows him clearly in possession of the ball short of the goal line, there's no reason that replay should have overturned this to make this down at the half-yard line or the 1-yard line, which they did. I know Bill probably got a lot of comments on this, or a lot of questions on this from ESPN and other folks around the country, but it was an SEC crew, so we're still trying to figure out what the replay official saw. He claims he had a shot that clearly showed the runner down at the half-yard line, but I'm not sure that was 100% accurate. So I'll let Bill throw in any other comments he's had on this one.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, if he had a shot down that showed true firm control of the ball in the field of play with the runner down, he had to get that from us. And I got a chance to look at every camera angle that was available to this one, and there's no camera angle that is indisputable video evidence that this is short of the goal line with control. If that player had dropped the ball at this shot that we're looking right here, let's say that ball came out of his hands and hit the ground, we'd have an incomplete pass.
Yep.
So if we'd have an incomplete pass at this point, we don't have possession. To have possession, and choose your words wisely, control, firm control is one of the elements of possession, but you have to be inbounds, which he is. You have to survive the ground if you're going directly to the ground, which he is. And so if any one of those three things doesn't happen, you're going to end up with an incomplete pass. So where the semifinals and the championship game, we had replay in the stadium, but the NCAA also had, and they did it out of Pittsburgh with the DV Sport, which is the company that handles all the replay equipment. They had an independent replay official in Pittsburgh with DV Sport who was making the final decision on this call and the one that was the first down that we saw in the previous play. So there was a third, the officials on the field, replay in the stadium, and a third party. This third party was making the final decision on this, and it's just baffling to me. To me, it said it was a failure. And let the officials and let replay handle things. Keep this third party stuff out of here. And now here's the other thing about it. Now you make the ruling, you say, all right, they got a first down at the half-yard line. It shouldn't be any big problem. They should score in the next couple
Till they
plays.
fumble it on the next play, right?
The very next play, Michigan fumbles the football and TCU recovers it. So impact, yeah, just 7 points. Oh yeah, wasn't that a couple 2-point game or something? So both of the semifinals were totally impacted by replay. And I'm I'm just perplexed by it. So, but anyway, hopefully they get it resolved. And the other thing is that it'd be interesting to see what the off-season training tapes have, because it really hasn't gotten a lot of traction for it to come from the NCAA, Steve Shaw, or any of our people there to really come out and make comments regarding whether they supported these or not. So be interesting. But again, remember, firm control, inbound status, survive an immediate hit, survive immediately going to the ground. And when he did that, he had that in the end zone.
Yep. So I love replay to death. Like Bill said, it's a great tool to use when you have it available to correct the obvious errors that are made on the field, but don't take the game away from the 7 or 8 officials that are working it on the field. If you have the opportunity to be a video judge, you're there to correct obvious errors. You're not there to create new ones.
Yeah, but oh, sorry, Jay. I was just going to say we've put a line in the new mechanics manual that says that the video judge shouldn't be going around creating false starts just because they can do a frame-by-frame analysis.
Amen.
Bill, could you go back to I've got a couple of people have asked me a question regarding the player who was diving at the sideline for the first down. Can you go back and just freeze it at the point? Yeah, that's good enough there, Bill. Right. The question I'm being asked by a couple of people are: this player obviously doesn't have his knees covered, and it's not a case of his knees have became uncovered through play. What's the what are you doing in the NCAA this year, Alex? What's the sort of guidelines are you following?
Nothing.
just leaving it. We
are instructed to not do anything about it.
Okay.
Which leads us to believe, why in the world is it even in the rule book? We are not to do anything about this. Simply report it to the conference office. The conference office will do nothing about it, but at least we went through the shenanigan of saying that we did it. Now Steve has come out on videos and training tapes and stuff and memos and said if he's significantly out of scope, that he can be sent off, but in a semifinal or a final, and I'll let Bill, nobody's significantly out of scope.
Yeah, it's gotten ridiculous, but and none of us want to be the fashion police. If it's a matter of, hey, cover that knee, pull it down, that type of thing. But these biker shorts that so many of them are wearing, it's ridiculous. Then the simplicity thing, just change the rule, change the rules so that we don't even have to answer questions about it anymore. it's a joke. You know, I don't see it happening when I'm watching games from other parts of the country or around the world, whether it's Europe or whether it's Japan. Everybody's properly equipped, and I don't see an issue with it so much. But in the US at the college level, it's just a joke.
Yeah, I agree. I think from what I see, we're generally on top of it.
Yeah. Okay, thanks very much for that, Alex. I appreciate that, and Bill for your presentation there. If you could just stop sharing again, and
It's all yours.
so you. Okay, well, thanks very much. We've only run 10 minutes over time, so just want to say thank you to Bill and Alex and Jim for their presentation. Just to make you aware, hold on a second, and I'll share my screen so you can see what's happening next week again. Can everyone see that? Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'll say thanks to Bill, Alex, and Jim for the presentations. Next week, Jim will be with us a new edition of the Manual of Football Officiating coming out, the 19th edition. So Jim will be covering that. And Bill and Alec again will be covering targeting and defensive holding, and we will have some polls during those presentations. The polls will be anonymous, so you can get to vote. Julia will be covering some of the administration update, registration, game day paperwork for the games this season. And then Alex will be finishing us off with another session on game management. So thanks everyone for taking the time to come along today. Thanks to all the presenters again, and we shall see you all next week. So thank you. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you so
everyone.
much. Bye bye.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
You guys. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friends.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye from Austria.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Marco, how are you?
Just waiting on everyone to leave.
Yeah.
Still Can I ask everyone just to leave apart from Bill, Alex, Jim, and Bill and Marco? Could everyone just leave the meeting, please, if you're not staying on, please?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for everything.
Okay, I'm just removing the ones that don't go out themselves. Okay.
I was
thanks.
trying to remove a few as well.
Yeah. Okay. I find that went fairly well. So
Somebody's removed Alex.
I never removed Alex. Alex just dropped out himself. Okay, so yeah, so same time next week, everyone, and hopefully it goes. I'm sure it'll go well. Julia, do you need to catch up with me during the week just to finalize your presentation? You still there?
He's muted.
Yeah. Fell asleep. Okay, I'll catch up with them later on. So, okay, guys, I'll let you go on. It's nearly dinner time. And then fall
Yeah, if you
asleep.
get any feedback or you got any suggestions, let us know too.
Will do. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.
Yeah.
All right, stay
Bye.
safe, guys.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye bye.